Making sure we're loud. Okay. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who we believe came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. And we thank him for raising up for us the exalted Christ, living in exalted Christ, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank those two for leaving in our midst a divine warner and guide in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's in their three names. I would like to greet you all again with the greeting words of peace we said in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. Today we're going to be studying a video by David Shands and Brother Mahdi, or Mahdi. I don't know how he says his name. Mahdi is spelled like Mahdi, though. And I was watching this the other day. I have not watched the whole thing, so we're going to watch a part of this because it's 2 hours long. But it's a lot of lessons that we can learn from billion-dollar companies. And we have decided that together that we're going to do Wealth Wednesdays. So every Wednesday, we're going to come together, collaborate, and discuss something financially, something about wealth, something about building yourself economically, X, Y, and Z. I think this is really good, and I'm gonna start it off by reading an article called what is this article called? Well, I'll just say this: the quote is from Message to the Black Man, and many of y'all have probably heard it. It is on page 174 in Message to the Black Man, where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad instructed us in his economic blueprint to observe the operations of the white man. He is successful. He makes no excuses for his failures. He works hard in a collective manner. You do the same. Now, I know some of you, the first time you hear that, I ask over the years, certain people go right to, well, are we supposed to kill and take? No, that's not what we are to observe. We are to observe operations of what makes him successful and then see how I can tie that into a righteous principle, into a righteous manner. So today is going to be a good interview. I think we can watch from this because we can see how they think in business and how they are planning really ahead of time, and how many of us, we're looking for like tomorrow. They're thinking 10 years ahead. So again, this is from Social Proof Podcast with Mahdi and David Shands. And I think this is going to be enlightening, especially those of you who are striving to eventually build a business or do something for yourself. It's going to be pretty revealing to you how they think and how they do things in business. So let's get started.
We have Mr. Mahdi Watered.
What's up, man? What's up, brother? What's going on?
What I love about you is your authenticity and your brilliance.
I started with a book called All Marketers Are Liars. But in this book, the subtitle was The Power of Telling Authentic Stories. It's twofold. It's me as a whole human, and it's also me running a business as a brand and understanding how to use authenticity for the greater good. I got invited to the Mars's family house in Wyoming in 2011. These people were worth 9-10 billion at the time. While I'm there, one of the family members pulled me aside. And she basically said, you shouldn't be in this room, but because you're in this room, let me give you some game. She said, you want to know the difference between getting rich and getting wealthy? Yes, ma'am, right? She said, we've mastered the 30-second commercial. We know how to tell a story that gets a person to run to the store and buy something in 30 seconds. It's gonna take us 10 years to master the 15-second commercial. And right after that is the 5-second commercial. If you wanna get rich, stay here and be the person that drives our growth and change and master this with us. If you wanna get wealthy, quit and go find the solution for the 5-second commercial and then sell it back to us. If I want to, I can't miss. I'm fully locked into anybody's brand, any voice, any tone. Let's go.
Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. We find dope people who have receipts, real winners out here. And the brother that is to the left of me has a very, very interesting journey. The side of corporate winning, entrepreneurial winning, seemed like a little bit of depression at one point, trying to figure it out, bits of confusion. He's telling people just calm down, just wait, things are coming, and then explosion of all the things that he said over his entire career. We have Mr. Mahdi Woodard.
What's up, man? What's up, brother? What's going on?
Wasn't that an intro right there?
That was good. That was good. We got to unpack it. You know what I'm saying?
We got to unpack it, man. What I love about you is your authenticity and your brilliance. Brilliance and authenticity, man. And we've been friends for a really, really long time.
Yeah, man.
We met selling T-shirts together.
Yeah,
and
man.
we just got to go through the whole story because they don't know.
Right,
so,
absolutely.
But I'm curious to know, what do you call yourself and what do you introduce yourself as?
It's one of those things, ain't it? Right? We tell people you got to distill it down to this elevator thing, and then when you talk about yourself, it's a little tough. At the core of it, though, bro, I'm a marketing strategist, right? Like that's my lens through how I see the life. Sorry, that's my lens through how I see life and business.
Right.
But I'm a CEO. I'm a content creator. I'm all the other things. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if I was just chatting with somebody, I would say, I'm a marketing strategist. I help you think through how you grow your business online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not a marketing strategist that came up with a good idea and marketed it. And it was like, hey, I'm a marketing strategist.
Yeah.
You've got a long history of understanding marketing.
Yeah. And I thank you for that because so there's no shade to those that might have figured out a way for it to work, but I do think context matters, especially on the internet. So I'm what they would call a classically trained CPG marketer, consumer packaged goods. That's all of your fast-moving, multi-million, multi-billion-dollar things that you would see in a grocery store or in a store like a Walmart or a Target, right? So my undergrad degree is in marketing and corporate finance. I went into marketing for close to 10 years. And you learn how these companies are built, right? So I started my career at Mars. At the time, they had 10 brands that were over $1 billion in value.
And Mars, what are some of the brands that Mars owns?
Yeah, so Mars which is still cool, privately owned, family-owned business. Snickers, M&M's, Twix, right? That's on the candy side. Starburst, Three Musketeers. But I worked in their pet division. So Pedigree, Iams, Yuka Nupa, Nutro, a lot of multi-billion-dollar pet care brands.
Hold on. They do dog food too?
Yeah. So, right? Didn't you have a T-shirt brand and a podcast and a media company? God. So at some point, it's about scale.
Yeah.
So think about it this way. These companies are ultimately the end result is that the product is going to the same place, which is a grocery store. Now, the points of origin is different. The manufacturing plant is different. But so much of the materials that you use, the glue that keeps a Snicker wrapper together and the glue that keeps a dog food bag together, it's probably the same glue.
Same glue.
So at scale, you almost paying little to nothing just for glue, right? One of the smart things that they did during my tenure there, they bought Wrigley. They bought Wrigley because Wrigley was an older company than they were, and Wrigley had a cheaper advertising rate, right? Because you get your rate based on when you start advertising with ABC or NBC. So now by buying Wrigley, they're now grandfathered in to cheaper ads. So now you feel me? Now you can run more ads at a cheaper price. That type of thought process.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Buying a company, not for like their performance necessarily or their gum.
Yeah.
But the fact that they have a portfolio of advertising outlets for a cheaper price, it makes the buy make sense.
Absolutely.
Wow.
As well as at the final retailer. Because now you got leverage. So if you want to set your price at Walmart, wouldn't you want to come in and say, we own Snickers and we also own Orbit and Five and Big Red and Starburst. Yeah. So collectively, we want our strategy to look like this. We want to have these many things on shelf. We want to be in this location. For Easter, we want to have this many end caps. For Halloween, we want to have this many baskets. And if not, we'll take our ball and go home, right?
So working at Mars, I'm sure you got like the family history and the origin of the company. Can you walk me through that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, the high level origin, it was started when I got there, we were at the grandkids, right? And they were the
grandkids were running it.
Correct. And they were all multi-billionaires at that point. So their grandfather started the business. The father got into the business. I don't know all of those details, but by the time you get to where we were, they were where a lot of companies, when people talk about generational wealth, you got to figure out, like, how do we want this thing to grow? How do we want to make sure that we protect our own interests? And I mentioned that they're still privately held. So imagine Shands Enterprises and your grandkids. It's still Shands Enterprises. It never became on the stock market. So no one's saying, we think you should interview Mahdi on Social Proof. Your grandkids are saying, I want to interview Mahdi's grandkids because my granddad and their granddad was friends. And that's what we want to do. I don't want to be told how we should grow. We want to control our destiny, right? So that's a different thought process.
Yo, you know what? Before this conversation, I'm not a huge fan of like formal education.
Yeah.
And I've never been in a corporate arena. I worked at the Cheesecake Factory, but not corporate. I didn't have to deal with corporate politics and stuff like that. I'm a server. I come, get my tables, get my money, I go home, right?
Yeah.
But for someone like you to see how all your, and I like the way you put it, I'm a classically trained marketer.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. But from your education to your corporate experience and now bottling all that up into Mahdi water that we see today.
Absolutely.
It works because you're drawing from those experiences. That's incredible, man.
Yeah. And again, I don't think you have to, but sometimes you ever find yourself like backed into a corner and you got to make a decision.
Yeah.
You need to pull from something. Some people pull from their gut. Some people pull from their instincts. Some people pull from their experience. Some people pull from their education. Yeah. Or you get a combination of all those things, right? Like a person can just sit before you and pitch an idea, and your experience knows that, like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to scale a $12 t-shirt company, right? Like, how much you paying for those shirts?
Right.
This is about to be an uphill battle, right? Now, my education says, oh, no. Let's use the $12 t-shirt as the PR campaign to get it in front of a lot of people and get it on a lot of people so that people are aware of who we are, but let's push them into our media platform. So now that we got all these buyers, we can break even on t-shirts, let them fall in love with the mission and the community, and then we'll get our money back on advertising when we launch this podcast. So that's education and experience at play, right?
I love that.
But the shirt by itself at $12 ain't gonna make it.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's your first experience with marketing? Meaning the first time you saw some marketing, you're like, ooh, that turned me on a little bit. That was sexy right there. Your first experience that you can remember is saying, yo, I want to be a marketer.
So it's crazy. I'm trying to be too long-winded. I didn't know that marketing was.
We got time, bro. Take your time. We here.
I didn't know that marketing was a thing. So my first introduction actually came in a class in college. There used to be a group of people called cool hunters. And what they would do is go hang out in urban neighborhoods and see what the kids are wearing, how they dressing, how they styling this stuff. Because the corporation, Adidas, might push out some shell toes, or Nike might push out Air Force Ones, but nobody is saying put lime green shoestrings in them. That's the kids deciding to do that, right? How are they actually using the products that we've created? What are the trends? Just go hang out. You like 22, they like 17, you can blend right in. But then feed that intel back to the R&D department and back to the marketing department so that we can create a trend based on this little thing we saw in the Bronx or this little thing that we saw in Louisville. Like, let's take it and now run it as a national campaign. So that thought process, I was like, wait, people just hanging out, but they really doing marketing, right? That's famous in the alcohol industry. People will sit at the bar, but they're actually being paid to recommend, like, oh, I think you should have a Jack and Coke. I don't know what I'm in the mood for. What you thinking? I think you should get a Jack and Coke. But they really work for Brown-Forman, the parent company that owns Jack Daniels. Or they like, take a shot with me. What you want? What you in the mood for? It don't matter. Hey, give us the whatever, right? So thinking about
cool hunters.
Yeah, it's called guerrilla marketing, right? So that was my first educational introduction. But my first, they're doing it, was when I got to campus. I'm gonna date myself, bro. I still had a Discman when I started college.
You got to walk slow.
And I got to walk slow, even with the anti-skip, right? You got to walk slow. I got a book bag full of CDs, and I'm going to this wealthy college, and we real, shout out to my family, right? We real humble. And I'm like, what's all these white headphones? Why do headphones look different than mine? I got regular black headphones over the ear. Everybody else got these little sleek white headphones because they got a thing called an iPod. And I'm like, just that one use of color had a distinction between all the rest of us that didn't have it and those that did. So now I got to go educate myself. What is this? So I go to the bookstore and I put $300. My mama have a fit if I spend my Pell Grant money on an iPod. But like just understanding the way color can inform you about a product and about the status of a person just through color, right? So imagine that. If it were black headphones, we might have thought they had a Discman.
Yeah.
They were white. It was different. Yeah.
Yeah. So that led you on a journey.
Correct.
Tell me about this journey.
I started, shout out to my marketing professor. I started with a book called All Marketers Are Liars, but he was using liars lighthearted, right? Seth Godin. We know him for Purple Cow.
Yeah.
And This Is Marketing, some of the bigger books. But in this book, the subtitle was The Power of Telling Authentic Stories, right? And so he talked about these different types of people that were disrupting the industries, right? And I may be getting this particular story off, but even that is still a Seth Godin story. He talks about when you go to a restaurant, if you were new, you get a red napkin. Everybody else got a white napkin. Well, the red napkin would symbol or signal to everybody else working this person is new. Make sure they have an amazing first experience, right? He talked about a real estate agent who, when he drove through the neighborhood, he told you about the story of the homeowners. It ain't about this is a 3-2 and it's got hardwood floors. This is David. He owns Social Proof Network. And over here, this is Donnie. And over here, this is James. So you like, I want to live in a neighborhood with people with this character and this value. By the time we get to my house, it fits, right?
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that they are. I want my kids to play with their kids. So don't just think about real estate and just get into the specs. Give me the authentic story of the neighborhood. Give me the story of the home because I'm buying into that bigger vision.
Yeah.
So when you said me being authentic, it's twofold. It's me as a whole human, and it's also me running a business as a brand and understanding how to use authenticity for the greater good.
So intentional authenticity.
Yeah, uncomfortable authenticity.
Is intentional authenticity really authenticity though?
So we talked briefly about it. Let's go into it, right? I think it's still the same, right? In the sense of when you get that feeling if you don't get that feeling in your gut, I don't know it's all the way authentic yet, right? If you never written something and didn't want to post it because you like, I don't know if I want them to see me like this, right? Then I think we got some growing to do, right? The reason why I say the intentional part matters is this is that bigger marketing framework and looking at the arc of history. I was sitting there as a person. I'm one of the first people in our generation to bail from these high six-figure businesses to go try to figure out entrepreneurship. If I would have told my story differently, or if I wasn't as authentic, I may have had an adverse impact on folks that I didn't mean to have, versus me saying, no, I had to, my first money came from saving. That's discipline. Yeah. Then I went broke, right? And then I had to figure out who I was, what I'm made of, and rebuild myself. So now if you following in my footsteps, you got all the information. As opposed to having partial information. I started with an investor, my parents are rich, and you thinking I just grounded it out the mud, and now you can't relate to me.
That's real. I mean? Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I am intentionally authentic, I believe. Even when I'm making a decision to talk about something in my business, I kind of lean, and I don't know if, maybe you can help me with this. I don't know if it's me, I don't want to say it's not sabotaging myself, but I don't hold myself in high regard.
Yeah.
So I'm more willing to, and I don't like bragging about myself. Yeah. I'm more willing to talk about how I messed up than how I got it right. Especially, and maybe it's just for my audience, right? Like my audience, most of the time don't get it right. And I want them to know, I too, most of the time don't get it right, but it be them times you get it right, that works, right? So I think that's authentic, but people are having a hard time doing that though. There's a lot of things you can do with $500. I mean, you can have a night out with your significant other. You could buy some really expensive shoes. Well, really nice shoes are about double $500. You could buy a course where you can learn something for $500. But I have something better for you to do with the $500. I want to meet with you every single morning for the rest of your life. Well, maybe not the rest of your life, but every morning, Monday through Friday, for the rest of the year. I have information and game that have allowed me to build a successful business, a successful community, and a successful life all the way around. But I want to share that with you. But the only way we can accomplish this is not me selling you a course, not me giving you a one-on-one consultation, because even with that, you'll get the information, but you'll need more. I want to meet with you every single morning. Now, would I meet with someone every morning for $500 for a year? And the answer is yes. Actually, we've been doing this thing since 2017. We have what's called the Morning Meetup. Every single month, we have a theme, whether it's social media, whether it's motivation, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, we have a theme for the month. And every morning in that month, we have a conversation around that topic. And I am giving a wealth of knowledge, not only myself, but a lot of friends, a lot of people that you see on this podcast, they join every single week. So you need a community of people that you can grow with, and you need a coach. I'm your coach. The Morning Meetup is your community. Go to themorningmeetup.com. It's $499, and I will meet you every single morning for an entire year. Give it a shot.
Having a hard time telling it?
Yeah, being not coming off perfect.
Right.
Because I think lifestyle marketing kind of
but I think we're talking about the same thing. Because I'm purposely pulling from those real stories for the person that's like you are, right? For the person that's about to start this journey. Now, I think ultimately we are appealing to different types of folks. There are some people who just want to see you look amazing and lavish because they aspire to be lavish. And so when you're not doing lifestyle marketing, they're actually repelled. Maybe he ain't that successful, right? But I just think for the greater good, there are more people who just trying to find somebody like them. You had a job, you jumped out here with a dream, you bumped your head along the way, you kept going. I'd rather tell that story than to just tell the fancy, pretty story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
So college, you find this book.
Yeah.
And is that when you made your major marketing?
Yeah, so I switched like sophomore year. I went in undeclared. I was just part of the business school, but I wasn't sure what the focus was going to be. I'm real good at math, so I'm thinking I'm going to go into corporate finance or accounting. I'm watching the kids that graduate from my college. They making $300,000. They 22. They got Ferraris. They trading on Wall Street.
All the way up.
I'm like, give me that. Give me that. right. And then I met who became my business mentor. I'll protect his name, but I'll tell you the story. So my marketing professor was teaching what's called the case study method. So you would say, here's an example of something that really happened with a business. Students, what do you think? How do you think this business should respond? But he had a wrinkle. He would fly the person back in from the company and tell you how they actually responded. At this point, I was now the teacher's assistant. So my job was to coordinate the travel and make sure that the guests had a good experience. And you ain't gonna take a little kid from the south side of Atlanta and put me in charge of making sure these rich CEOs get from point A to point B without me doing a little schmoozing in the middle.
Oh, for sure.
So let's talk. Let me build it 30 minutes for coffee.
Yeah.
And so the guy that became my business mentor, I told him I was on the brink between corporate finance and marketing. He said, if you're good enough at the math to do corporate finance, go into marketing, you'll dominate. Because we need people who can tell the story of the numbers. It ain't that hard to get the logo right. I'm no disrespect to people that study design. Yeah. It ain't that hard to get the colors right. But how do we make this entire, he taught me to think bigger than the product. How do we make this whole business work, but still from a marketing lens? And you got to be able to speak finance.
Gotcha.
If I came over right now and said, hey, bro, let's collab on a business deal, you're probably not going to say, let's get on Canva and start working on the design. You're going to be like, let's talk the numbers.
Yeah,
like, let's talk about it.
100%.
Absolutely. So being able to tell those stories on what the profit margin might look like and what's the investment might look like, then we can get to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change your major.
Yeah.
And then you start learning all this cool marketing
Absolutely.
stuff. I always had a challenge with school, just sitting there. Like, that's just not my learning style.
Yeah.
But were you like really, really excited through this college process, like in learning it?
It was kind of like finding a passion or a gift in a way. Because I've always been, you know, you be getting on me with my words. I've always been adjacent to marketing. I just didn't know that that's what it was. I've sold things before.
Right.
I played quarterback, so you got to lead the team and give them a message, pregame speech. We can win it, guys. Get your head in the game. I've been doing the stuff that's part of marketing, but I ain't calling it marketing, right?
You calling it BMID?
Yeah, I'm just being myself. You know what I'm saying? And so as you start learning and you get the terms and you understand the strategy, now I'm able to put a level of surety around this thing. So now we're doing rapid exposure, internships, externships, which is like 2 or 3 days with a person as opposed to 6 weeks or 3 months over the summer with a person.
Gotcha.
So you're just getting rapidly exposed. And shout out to, I went to Bucknell University, and I will forever give them credit for the academic rigor and for the introduction to the bigger world, because it prepared me for all this stuff where you can send out an email to a person and say, yeah, you can shadow me. I'm only the senior vice president of such and such. When can you be in Manhattan, right? And forgive me, I lost a little bit of the question, but like that whole thing is sort of what drove me and led me to just jump all in full steam.
Gotcha. At this moment, you're not thinking entrepreneurship at all?
No, not at all. Why? 300,000, 150,000, even at the lowest level, bro. I had my job in December. They said just graduate. We're done looking at your test scores. We're done looking at your GPA. We don't care. Crawl across the finish line. Just graduate. And here's a signing bonus. And then we're gonna do a moving allowance. So we'll move. I'm like, move. I live at the door. What you gonna move?
Wow.
Right. So I'm getting introduced to the corporate world, and I'm also fully bought into the American dream. So I came from hardworking parents who were trying to figure it out. I done sacrificed everything for academics and a little bit of athletics. I want to see the fruit of my labor pay off. And why wouldn't you go work at one of these well-branded companies?
Yeah.
Who don't want to do marketing for M&Ms?
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And so my mentor, I'm telling him that story. I want to do marketing for M&Ms. And he's like, oh, cool your jets. Everybody want to do marketing for M&Ms. How about you go to a different portfolio? Go to pet. Because
Pet
food, right?
Okay.
So he at the time was the global CEO of Mars. I forgot to mention that part.
So he was.
So that helps.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So he's like,
So he's not offering a job. He's like, yo, go work for somebody else.
No. He's saying inside of our portfolio, don't go work for M&M's. Go work on Pedigree.
I see, because they own Mars.
Correct.
I got you.
So even you know how people like fill out something on Indeed or you fill out a job. My first call was with the vice president of HR.
No, sure.
I'm 21.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You've been building this relationship for what, a year or two now?
Yeah, about 2 years. Yeah. And they do their due diligence, right? So they're figuring out who you are as a person, what's your character like, because he's still about to put his name on the line for a kid.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm getting coached through this, and we can talk about the power of coaching. Yeah. He's like, at 21, you can't sell yourself on experience. You can only sell yourself on potential. And you can only sell yourself on your academic track record. So don't go into this interview pretending to be somebody you're not.
Come on.
Right? Your marketing project that you worked on is not what you're about to go do. But we are looking at your values and your character traits, and you got to interview well, those types of things. So, but he goes deeper. Now, and all this stuff matters. So Mars Chocolate was headquartered right outside of New York. Mars Pet was in Nashville. M&M's versus Pedigree. If you're graduating from business school, M&M's, no brainer. Yeah. I want to be the person that come up with what the yellow M&M gonna say, right? Nobody necessarily want to go work in pet care if you could go work in chocolate. No shade to all my old colleagues. But he's like, let me help you think. The cost of living is better in Nashville. It's an emerging city versus New York City is saturated. You can go make a name for yourself way quicker, and you can navigate the company from the inside as opposed to the outside.
Yo, are you still connected to this guy?
Yeah.
He's a brilliant
He's
individual.
He's the CEO of they do about $17 billion, the company that he runs now. And I say this with all humility. If I email him today, he'd probably hit me back today, no later than tomorrow morning. Yeah.
You maintain that relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you obviously, he gives you this sound advice on Pedigree.
Yeah.
And you go to work there.
Yeah. So I go there, and hilarious because typically to go into these departments, you probably got 5 to 7 years of corporate experience and an MBA. I'm 4 weeks out of undergrad. My boss said, I don't even have anything for you to do, right? I don't even know what this title is. We don't have this. So I'm going to treat you like the other people and divide up the work, sink or swim. Best thing could have happened.
Wow.
Because now it's like you rapidly got to catch up. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just going to assume that even though you don't have the experience, you have the aptitude. So you need to quickly catch on. They also had great training and great education. So I'll give them credit for that as well.
What were some of your first tasks?
Man, one of my very first projects, and it don't seem sexy until you understand what's at scale. We were doing a packaging redesign, right? So imagine if you were going to change the Sleepers for Suckers logo, right? But you are the number one company in the world. You're the number one clothing brand in the world, and you're about to change the logo. And my job is to make sure nothing goes wrong. I'm not in charge of making sure it look pretty, but when we print it on a billboard, on a building, on a napkin, on a piece of paper, on a truck, on cardboard, everything better be spelled right. Everything better be in the right dimensions. Everything better look perfect, minus these new changes that we're making.
Yeah.
So now you learn to detail. Here is why it matters. You got millions, if not tens of millions of dollars of inventory in order to be able to get all this stuff to the store in time. One misprint might cost you $10 million.
Yeah. It's not like printing 72 t-shirts. You
can just, you can shoot out gun, right?
Yo, funny story. Me and my team, actually, man, Jeremy, designed ET's first t-shirt. They still sell it today. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. The design, fire.
Wow, yeah.
So, I mean, he's like this. I think the story is just getting there. So he's like, all right, we got to get some merch going. And he already made me a bunch of money by wearing my Sleepers for Suckers t-shirts.
Yep.
So we get it all done. We send it to them. They're like, okay, this is the one. A couple iterations.
Yep.
This is the one. This is the one. They sent it to their team. They're like, yo, let's go.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, yes, it's amazing. They was like, yo, can you handle the printing? I'm like, yes, we got this. We got a print shop in Atlanta. Jack.
Yep.
You rock with Jack? Sent it to Jack. They looked at it. Everything good. Yes, it's approved. I sent it back to CJE. Everything approved. They're like, it's approved. Cool. Let's print 5,000 t-shirts. The t-shirt said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breath.
Breath, not breathe. Yeah.
Tough. Yeah. CJ and E being so gracious, they realized it was my fault 100%.
Yep.
But it was like, yo, we saw it too, we missed it, no problem. And that story just always, it stings, bro.
Yeah.
When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breath.
Wow.
5,000 t-shirts. So I imagine at your company, it's not 5,000. There are hundreds of thousands that get printed. And if something goes wrong,
across the entire supply chain network, you might have 13 printing sites. So this got to get from the printer onto a truck, onto a pallet, a pallet on a truck, from a truck to the distribution center warehouse, right? So, but here's also what I learned when you talk about these transferable lessons. I'm also now working with the graphic design companies that's in charge of this. And I said, they charge $200,000 to update this logo. They charge $80,000 to say new and improved taste, right? And my boss said, we pay them because of the risk of the F up. We need somebody that's gonna get it right. Because if you get it wrong, it costs us $10 million. So yeah, we pay you $200,000 to make sure we don't have to pay $10 million.
Dang, we be fighting about these little.
We fight over these $1,000
for a logo,
right? Over these Fiverr $85 logos, unlimited revisions, right? But then now you know. So if we were gonna say let's pitch some corporate company, we can't go in there with the same rates. They're gonna laugh us out of the building. They know that we don't understand the scope and scale and the magnitude if we come in underpriced. Ooh. So you got to price a
Okay, I got to go back. I know I usually don't do this, but I got to go back so y'all can listen to that. Man, that was a good point right there. Look at that.
Have to pay $10 million.
Dang, we be fighting about these little.
We fight over these $1,000
for a logo,
right? Over these Fiverr $85 logos, unlimited revisions, right? But then now you know. So if we were gonna say let's pitch some corporate company, we can't go in there with the same rates. They're gonna laugh us out of the building. They know that we don't understand the scope and scale and the magnitude if we come in underpriced. Ooh. So you got to price appropriate to the risk. We about to put this on a building, and you coming in here talking about 1,500, and we expecting to see 200,000. Yeah. You might have the design chops, but you don't have the business acumen.
That's crazy. You'll lose the deal by coming in significantly less.
You might be late to a call. That's how they feel. You might misprint something. You might send the wrong version to the CEO at that price point.
Goodness gracious.
You ain't got enough to risk. Yeah.
So you've had, how long were you at Pedigree actually?
4 years.
4 years. Yeah. And then you
so I'm in Nashville, right? I'm in Nashville, and for perspective, I'm from Atlanta. The same Atlanta that everybody loves, right? I'm from Atlanta. I leave at 18, I come back at 26. But I've been successful in college. I've been successful in corporate. And I'm helping my brother with his business. Like I'm starting to get into entrepreneurship, but it's not coming to as a calling. It's like it's the lower energy. I want to come to Atlanta and play, right? I want to come to Atlanta and party. I'm tired of missing the fun and catching up with y'all on Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
I got a couple dollars, right? Let me go buy the Jordans and let me go hit the hookah spot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming from that perspective. But I got all this corporate stuff and I don't really know how to unpack it yet. Yeah. I've been in rooms and in conversations that you cannot fathom, right? I got invited to the Mars' family house in Wyoming in 2011. These people were worth 9-10 billion at the time. So my mentor had since left the company. I said, what do I do? What do I wear? What do I say? I don't know how to act, right? So he walked me through, here's how you go about it. While I'm there, one of the family members pulled me aside. And she basically said, you shouldn't be in this room. But because you're in this room, let me give you some game. Right?
And this is 4 years after, this is 4 years in at Pedigree.
This 2 years in.
2 years in. Okay, got you.
Right? Funny story. The senior management team left. I became the most senior person on Pedigree after 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they had some internal turmoil, but I just stayed in my job. I got a promotion. It was like, I'll do the work, right? Corporate opportunities are crazy. But I end up going, so now I'm at the Mars family house, and one of the members of the family pulled me aside. And I'm going to translate it, right? Because it was corporate speech. But she basically said,
give me the corporate speech first.
She said, it looks like you're doing amazing in your career. And this is a great opportunity that you were able to join us here. What she really saying is, boy, you young. We all in here 50 and older. What your young behind doing here? But you ain't here on accident. So I'm going to assume that you can handle this information I'm about to give you next. She said, you want to know the difference between getting rich and getting wealthy? Yes, ma'am. Right? She said, we are, and anchor your mind here, 2011. She said, at this point, we've been running companies, let's just say 100 years. We've mastered the 30-second commercial. We know how to tell a story that gets a person to run to the store and buy something in 30 seconds. It's going to take us 10 years to master the 15-second commercial. And right after that is the 5-second commercial. If you want to get rich, stay here and be the person that drives our growth and change and master this with us. If you want to get wealthy, quit and go find a solution for the 5-second commercial and then sell it back to us. Because your boss ain't going to let you work on no 10-year project here, a little pet project. But if you want to know how the game is played, that's where we at, and here's where we going. Now look at where we are. It's 2023. How much time people give you on a social media post?
Well, if you might be water a little longer, but
you know what Instagram counts as a view? How many seconds?
How many?
3 seconds. This is almost prophetic from this lady. 3 seconds is how much time you get to count as a view. She said 5 seconds 12 years ago. Same thing. Now imagine if I had just started working on telling a 5-second story for 10 years, and then we get here in TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram pop up, and you ready for it. You know what I'm saying?
Goodness gracious.
But this is, everybody talk about getting in the room, coaching, mentor. When you sitting with certain people, information is competitive advantage. We treat information like a throwaway, right? How many people done bought stuff from us, didn't open it, didn't use it, and you like, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this ebook. I ain't hustling you. This is the step-by-step process. And folks treat it like it's just, take it or leave it. Nah, this ain't take it or leave it. I've been a part of some conversations humbly you can't conceive of. I sat with Amazon. Amazon said our 2020 vision, this is the year 2010. Our 2020 vision is that we will have 50% of y'all's business. Right now, we're at about 7%. So y'all are in meetings with Walmart and Target and y'all dancing with them and y'all leaving us high to dry. But we're going to be the dominant player in 10 years. So we highly recommend y'all start building relationships with us now. I'm in the meeting because I'm junior. My bosses is with Walmart, but I'm talking to Amazon. So I know what's coming. 10 years before it gets here.
Jeff knew.
Yeah. Dollar General said the same thing. They said, we're going to add 10,000 stores over the next 10 years. We're looking at the entire geographic landscape. We want to be the refill store. So in between your big grocery, most people grocery shop once a month, but you need you need some toilet tissue. You need a dozen eggs. We want to be that place. So they looked at where was the population density, how far did it take you to get to a major store, Kroger, Ralph's, Safeway if you're up north. We just want to intercept them. We want you to have to pass us to get to them. And that's how we're going to get your business. And if you look now, a Dollar General is around like Waffle House, right? Like
for sure.
They're right in between your journey to a bigger store.
I want to get back to the dinner, but
Yeah, for
you
sure.
got a point. I think Dollar General is doing something wrong. It's not as a staple, and I don't know how the business is doing, but I want to know from your perspective when you look at like Dollar General, and I don't understand the whole Family Dollar. Is it the same company, different company? Walk me through that.
You got a Rolex on. You ain't the target consumer. That's probably why you ain't, you know what I mean?
Dollar General still lit.
Yeah, I haven't looked at their financials, but think about that as a concept. We know we won't be as big as the Amazons. We know now what they probably couldn't have foreseen is how fast the online distribution network would happen. We didn't think we'd be ordering groceries and they'd be at our house the same day.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But like for the, again, that refill, you ain't coming in here to spend $200. You coming in here to spend $18. You coming in here to spend $24. And we're going to get a bunch of those. Right? You need a pack of AA batteries, some paper towels, and you need some whatever else. You don't want to walk into a big old Walmart. Let me just shoot the Dollar General real quick.
Right. Yeah. So the batteries at Dollar General are always terrible, but you need the batteries because I need to go on my remote today.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll wait to later to go get good batteries from
So then
wherever.
here's how they do it in order to be able to meet their price. So they go back to these bigger companies and they say, give us the best thing that you feel comfortable putting your logo on, but like strip it down so that we can make the cost spec. So for example, let's just...
Oh, hold on real quick. So you're saying certain companies create specific products for a
the Dollar
General.
Channel. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you hit I don't know if this is still out there, but it used to be Tide and Tide Basic, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of how potent the Tide was different in the dollar store versus in the regular store because they need to be able to hit a certain price point, right? So again, if you paper towels might be one ply, your any type of thing, it's a thinner version, right? So thread counts of sheets might be way less thread count at a dollar store versus a traditional store.
Bro, I am seeing how little I know about business right now.
No, it's beautiful though. So you also seen...
I just don't see these angles. Like the average entrepreneur, the stuff that you're talking about, we never think of this kind of stuff. Like why we're doing a certain thing now would be different than a corporation doing the same exact thing, but they're doing it for a whole nother reason.
Yeah. But here's the beauty of it, right? When they say the number one rule of business, just stay in business. Like right now, if you could go back and right your wrongs with the wisdom you have now, it's almost like cheating.
Yeah.
If somebody said, we're going to give you, $5,000 to launch a t-shirt company, you're like, why so much money, right? I can do these things called pre-order. Because you just got so much confidence and experience in the game. You can bring all your wisdom and experience. So we don't think about the fact that most of these places got 50, 70, 100 years of experience. They also hire the best. Because we know that if we go get the best people, train them, and then unleash them, like we'll end up getting like a multiplier effect. You know what I'm saying?
Got it. Goodness gracious.
Now, you said you want to go back to the dinner.
I want to go back to the dinner because I think it was a lot more that you gathered than that conversation.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
So you're sitting in a room with billionaires, right? So I'm able to see how they think about the world. So an example, I knew, and I told all my friends, they thought it was crazy. I knew that alternative meat like Impossible and Beyond Burger was coming 10 years before it came. Because we're in pet. And pet food is derived from animals. So tier 1 cut of a cow might go to a steakhouse. And tier 2 might go to Cheesecake Factory. No shade. Well, tier 3 goes to dog food. We're looking at the demand on how much humans are eating, and they saying we're not going to have enough tier 3 for dog food. We need to be thinking about alternative protein sources now Because if people keep eating at the rates they're doing and they keep getting dogs, we're going to run out of dog food.
First off, we're not going to disrespect Cheesecake Factory. Tier 3 would be Chili's. You know what I mean? Yo, and it's crazy because the food at these like lower end restaurants, it's like you order a steak here, but you order a steak here, it tastes drastically different. So, so you're understanding these tiers. And
I'm understanding supply and demand, right? They said, so where we think in terms of, again, we think in terms of product. They think in terms of industry. So
landscape.
Yeah. We got the #1 chocolate company in the world. Where we get our chocolate from? You ever thought about it? Right? They ain't calling some 1-800 chocolate distributors.
Yeah.
They said we got to teach a country how to cultivate chocolate. So we'll go to the whole country and we'll work a deal out with their government and we'll take the whole country and teach them how to grow chocolate over the next 20, 30, 40 years. I don't know about the rest of my competitors, but we're going to have chocolate, right? That's the thought process. So now you understand why it took.
No, y'all didn't hear that. Let's go back. Oh my goodness.
And we'll work a deal out with their government. Right? They ain't calling some 1-800 chocolate distributors.
Yeah.
They said we got to teach a country how to cultivate chocolate. So we'll go to the whole country and we'll work a deal out with their government and we'll take the whole country and teach them how to grow chocolate over the next 20, 30, 40 years. I don't know about the rest of my competitors, but we're going to have chocolate, right? That's the thought process. So now you understand why it took me. Now you know me as a friend, why it took me so long to go through my process of like unlearning and then relearning so that I could match up with the day-to-day entrepreneur. I'm walking around with this stuff in my head 10 plus years ago. And now I show up on social media. It's like, what do I talk about? I only know this other stuff. I don't even know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? And I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur. I didn't have that, like, most people got the rage. Somebody screwed them over. They got passed up on a promotion. I'm going to show you. Right? Other people got the, like, I've just never fit inside of structure. I don't have none of that. I was a straight A student. I went from kindergarten to college and never made a C. I'm good at school. I like school. I'm good at corporate, right? I got 4 promotions in 3 years. That's crazy.
Man.
But I'm saying there's something in me that says, like, I think I'm supposed to be doing something different with this gift. I think I'm supposed to be like helping people in a different capacity. What if I could find a way to take these principles I've learned and help the common person? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so you're sitting there with billionaires at this dinner, right?
Yeah.
Is that even there when she says, hey, leave, create something, come back and sell it to us? Did it automatically say, okay, I'm at to be an entrepreneur? Or was you like,
this that stuff that just played like what they say on the back burner? So I think it hit my subconscious. Yeah. My conscious is like, lady, y'all pay me $100,000.
I'm going nowhere.
I'm going to work, right? In fact, I'm gonna stay up tonight and change my presentation before tomorrow because I can't conceive. We talk about it all being mindset, and people think that's a cop out. But at that age, I don't have the mindset for this seed she just gave me. I don't have the soil for her to plant this in yet. So I can only reject it because I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with it. How do you go do something for 10 years that you don't know how to do? And you don't know, it won't make money till year 11, right? Well, you gotta know how to raise capital and borrow money and, you know what I mean? Like equity, crowdsourcing, funding, and all this other stuff. I'm 23, right? Like, this is the best thing ever happened to my whole family. Right. You know what I'm saying? This lady trying to jinx me, right? So again, it plays in the back burner and you can pull these lessons when you get where you're going.
For sure.
But I wish I had the resources and support to jump at the time.
Right.
Because it was, again, the difference between getting rich and getting wealthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to the story, but I just want to like pivot a little bit.
For sure.
What is your perspective on corporate employment now? Do you still see it as a way that people can live that fulfilled life? Or would you say, even if you're on that path, you need to do something entrepreneurial?
So I think multiple streams of income, everybody needs to be concerned with it, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean you're an entrepreneur, from my definition, right? I tend to think of an entrepreneur as a person that's owning a business or enterprise, not just putting their money to work.
For sure.
So I think there are a lot of folks that they get paid so well in corporate that the risk to jump out here just to get back to where they already were, it just might not be worth it. You're better off peeling off $300,000, throwing it in an index fund and just letting it do what it do, as opposed to risking your, $600,000 job to come do this stuff. We joked and laughed when you was like, quitting $35,000 ain't as much as $100,000.
Yeah.
But depending on where you are, it may not be as risky. If you can say, man, look, I can roommate with one of my friends, or I can move back home with my folks, and the amount of money I've been making at my job, I think I can start to put this into my enterprise. Yeah. You may be a greater candidate than somebody at senior management or something like that.
Sure.
But I do think we all are sitting ducks if we don't put our money to work.
Yeah.
And I was guilty, and I'm just now getting to the point of like, you ain't trying to watch the money stack up. You realize that's not smart.
Yeah.
To just see the money keep going. Like, it better be doing something, and we'll reclaim it when we need it. But like, let's put all the money to work at some percentage that's at least above inflation.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
And speaking of which, I remember there was a point in time, and again, I didn't know if you were like just using market research or whatever, but you were posting on social media. And we'll go through the story of like you building your business, but you're like, yo, I'm about to go back to work, y'all.
Yeah.
What y'all think?
Yeah. So I would call it an identity crisis, in the sense of, this is all I know how to be. Yeah. I've trained my whole life to be this person. I've gotten there. I've gotten the tokens and the level of success and the validation and the attaboys. And now, because I don't have a big enough calling pulling me into entrepreneurship yet, I'm just kind of like inquisitive. I'm sticking my toe. So this, like, I'm trying to figure out how to make $30,000, and these folks are saying, we give you a $40,000 signing bonus to come back. And you're trying to figure out, right? So I'm in limbo, because am I tripping, right? Did I jump too soon? Did I not have the right plan? Yeah. Can you do both? Because for a long time, I'm glad that this rhetoric has sort of died down, but for a long time, it was like, you can't have a job and be an entrepreneur. You got to pick, right?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think in some capacity, it's smart to do both, especially if where you're working is going to get you the resources and the experience and the exposure quicker than entrepreneurship can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think if I had to start all over, I would probably work for an entrepreneur that I believed in.
Yeah.
And figured out a way to add value dramatically, financially.
Right.
Because it's easier to start sharing in those profits.
Right.
If you make Mars an extra 100 million, it's not like they give you $1 million.
No.
You know what I mean?
There's
it's
no
like,
profit sharing.
Right,
You know?
for sure. I would work for you. I'd be like, yo, Mahdi, I work for you now.
But
and I'll bring some money in.
That's another thing that we say, and I think it go in one ear and out. People don't actually understand what that mean, right? I would work for you. I would say, all right, on this time money equation, what does David value?
Yeah.
I see him talking about coming home to his kids. I see him talking about his wife. I understand the enterprise that will keep him away from those things, but he's also building it for those things, not calling your family things, right? Yeah. If I could intercept that and either make you more money quicker or give you back more of your time, I probably got some leverage.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So I'm going to study you, see how you spend your time, see how you do your money, and come up with better ideas than what you come up with by yourself. And say, hey, Dave, I don't want to be in your business, but can we chat for a little bit? Like, what type of growth rate I saw you looking to invest in a company. If you were to put in $50,000, what would you reasonably expect to get back in a year? And you're like, oh man, I'd be cool getting back, principal plus 5% equity. I don't give me 10,000 in some equity. Now I got to go beat that.
Yeah.
So next time I talk to you, I got 3 proposals I want to put in front of you. I went and met with the people, talked about them. I didn't tell them who it was. I said I'm representing a VIP client who's looking for an investment opportunity. I'm coming to you like that, right? And now you like, this boy making more money. I like this. I like this Maybach music, right? So now we thinking like that. So I think folks don't understand how to get hungry out here because we're all chasing that like individual glitz that we don't think about adding value to somebody else.
Facts.
Yeah.
Ooh, my. That's part 1, family. If y'all want to do part 2 tomorrow, I know tomorrow's not Wealth Wednesdays, but if y'all want to do part 2 tomorrow, we can. Y'all let me know. But man, that was powerful. That last piece that he just talked about, studying the person and going to find out what they value. I literally have a whole PDF on that process because that's what I did. That's what I did a couple of years ago. I literally have a whole how to DM, what to say in the DM, like. So these are principles, man, that really work and they apply. So I hope you guys, and what I want to get us to see from this interview, right? We hear the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say, study the operations of the white man, right? You hear it and we've quoted it, but what does that mean? What does that look like? We say, oh, well, I'm from the surface level. Oh, they got businesses and they unite. Okay, yeah, but now we're able to see the intricate thoughts, the plans, the moves, the things that they do. It's like, whoa, man, they thinking 10 years ahead. They thinking, man, further. They talking about buying a country that I'm like, oh my goodness, we still tripping over, man, it cost me $116 to get my logo. No, man, they ain't thinking about none of that, man. Woo, this is deep. I wanted to add this to the conversation because I know many of us have a job and you're thinking about entrepreneurship. So I do want to give you this from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. There was a question that was asked in the Twitter Teachings 2.0. And it says, just wanted to know, how does one do for self? I want to leave my job. So this is what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is being asked. And this is what he responds. He says, never leave your job until you have something that you can step into that will provide you at least the security that your present job gives you. And y'all know, those of you all who've been in for a minute, he gave us the still away method in the nation years ago. And then he says, leaving your job is a great leap of faith. I know some who have done it and found great success. I know others who did it prematurely and it hurt the security of their wives and their children. Let's not be guided by emotions. May Allah bless you to make the best decision for your life. So I want to just give you that Q&A from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So at this time, if you have something that you would like to share, press the number 9 in the that's why that's what y'all get for not listening. See, they were trying to anticipate. See, this is what you got to learn now, right? When you get into drill, you listen, you don't anticipate your DA left. That's because you trying to end. It's left. Phase, right? That's how you do it. But see, we talk to see y'all jumping the gun. I'm finna start testing y'all in the morning. Okay, let's go. We got Sister 90X up first. Oh, she said, "Oh, you don't talk about me yesterday. I'm gonna be first today." See, look at the woman. Go ahead.
It did. First, my throat is kind of sore. Apologize, but assalamu alaikum, everybody. So the first thing that I wanted to address, or I guess talk about, was when he was asked, what is your perspective on corporate employment now? And Mahdi's answer was, I think everybody needs to be concerned with multiple streams of income, that we're all sitting ducks if you do not put your money to work. Put it to work at some percentage that's above inflation. And that was a big lesson, if you will, for me, for one, because I have almost my entire life up until 2019 worked a corporate job and didn't know how I wanted to pretty much transition into entrepreneurship outside of a 9 to 5. And like he said, it was a big stigma, if you will, like of having a 9 to 5 and being an entrepreneur, that everybody was just basically saying, it can't be done. But it's a eye opener for us to be able to try, our entrepreneurship match our corporate level job, and as far as the income is concerned, and then break away, like my husband just stated, from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But then in that same breath, once you do get to that point, you need to only have that entrepreneurship, but don't let that be the only stream of income that you have. Not even say that, also keep a corporate job, but put the money, the profits that you're making, to work for yourself in some aspect. That comes with education. But that point, or that that he was asked and his response, it really hit home for me on something like that.
Alaikum salam. Thank you. And yes, that was Mahdi Woodard. For those who are wondering, that is the Social Proof Podcast. Really, really, really good. And again, I still literally haven't finished it. So, yeah, everybody said we're going to listen to part 2 tomorrow. So we're going to literally be watching it in real time together. So let's go to Brother Maximus.
Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum salam.
A lot stand out to me because I am a finance person and work in finance. And one of the things that stood out, him going to Bucknell, my brother's the only black coach that's in his 22nd year head diving coach for the men and women at Bucknell University. But my takeaway of that, I liked when he talked about Mars, because actually I did a case analysis on that when I was using that to compare private versus corporate. And the interesting about the model is very important, understanding the knowledge and the financial statements of a business, whatever you invest in it. Financial reports are very important to tell you the direction and how a company came about, and the marginal cost. But when he used that Dollar General example, it made me think about what was a relevant statement at the time and what must be done. Because when you think about Dollar General and you think about the economy today, Dollar General is doing pretty good today. Why? Because people have less access to money and they're being a little bit more strategic or looking to get the most for their dollar. So, so now Dollar General is doing a lot better than a lot of other stores. Another takeaway was, of course, the investment. I do that. Another thing I did was I agree with him about staying ahead of inflation. My goddaughter, mother used to buy her Jordans. And I said, you know what? Jordans doesn't gain value. So what we did was we took that money, and at the time, the face value of $100 bond was $50. That was something that appreciates. It gains interest. And then we also took the other part of the $100 and was buying mutual funds. Mutual funds is a diverse stock. It's stocks that the average person can't afford to invest in, and the average return on Vanguard and those things are about 10%. So I agree of keeping ahead of inflation. But one thing I just want to say about private versus public real quick. Understanding the difference between private and public, I would encourage people to do research on that, because public, it's not so easy. And as he talked about these privileged kids, it's when you private, it's hard to find funding. It's more challenging unless you have the capital yourself to start up. But you have an advantage as public because you don't have to give so much financial information when you're a private company versus public. Public, you don't have no say in who is owner of your corporation. Whoever purchased stock in your company could be anybody. They have say and shares in your company without you saying. And it causes other competition to steal or gains off of your knowledge concept. That's why they had the patent for so many years, so that you could get the return on your investment. But when you public, everybody knows. Private, you don't have to give so much information out. That's all I wanted to say.
Man, you done took me back, Brother Maximus. When I was in college, I used to sell Jordans. Yeah, you got to tell her to get the retro Jordans. Them bad boys do go up in value. Them bad boys be up to goddamn $800, $900 plus dollars, man. I made me a pretty good profit when I was in college, man. Ooh-wee, I'm looking at some of my old pictures now, man. I used to have them things shipped in, them retros, and them bad boys used to be going like hotcakes. But y'all remember them days, boy? Them flip them Jordans. Especially when you get in there early, you get the 11s. You get them 11s real early. And then I got me 3 pair of them. Oh, boy, you finna make you about $1,000 some dollar. Look at this. I'm about to show y'all. Man, I done did some everything but sell weed and crack, boy. Let me show you this right here. Let me see. Well, I just found a picture, boy. This is in college, boy. Golly, this is a throwback. This is a size, but I had a size 9. Look at this, y'all. Woo, I just found me a throwback picture, boy. Look at this. Boy, golly, while I was selling that bad boy, them mother was clean too, though, boy. I had the Jordan shirt on. Boy, I was a distributor back in the day, boy. Golly. All right, let's go to Sister Farah.
Assalamu alaikum. My bad. Um, so what stood out to me was that last part. He said where he was saying that we're focused on ourselves too much. We think, what can I get out of this? How much money can I make from this? We don't focus on how can I add value to this person. And it's kind of like that with courtship and marriage. You know, a lot of us are going into courtship or seeking a mate with the wrong mindset. You know, we're focused too much on what do I need? What can I get out of this? And not what value do I bring, or what are some things I can be working on to increase my value and to prepare myself for a mate. Brother Ben speaks on a lot. He says impact over income. The more people you impact, the more income will come. You know, we need to focus. We need to be more focused more on, you know, what value do I bring? What gift did Allah bless me with that I can use to help others? You know, some of us take these teachings and just keep it to ourselves, you know, use it for our own benefit in our lives. But we miss out because it's so rewarding, you know, when we take this teaching and reach the people with it, not just for you, but them as well. You know, just the feeling you get itself is so rewarding. You know, the drop of thought, provoking seed, and watch as a light comes on in their head and in their lives. And it's an amazing feeling to be that for somebody. And Allah loves when we do that for him. So he pays us back. You know, he rewards us for doing this work because it's what he created us to do. A Muslim is one who submits to do his will, not the white man's will, not your brother or your sister's will. We're taught that we must all be doing something for self. All right, that's all I had. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. You know, I was looking at and listening to what they look for, right? And some of the things that stood out to me, he said, they figure out who you are and what your character is like. Then he said, as a young person, so this is for all of us who are young, no disrespect to y'all who I am not even going to give a number. If you consider yourself young, that's between you and God. Okay, so you can't sell yourself on experience, talking about when you're young, only on potential and academic track record. Then he said they are looking at values and character traits. And if you interview well. Now, I want us to think about this online. What are we displaying? Because, you know, online, now this is probably 10 years ago, I guess we had MySpace and stuff like that. But now they're literally searching your social media, right? So on social media, what are you showing that you value? On social media, what are you showing to display your character, right? Now some people, you know, your background and your education background, but I'm pretty sure they're aware that, you know, there's people that have been passed, and when you got this long resume, you know, use ChatGPT. So your character and your values is going to be very important as a young person. Sometimes your character can get you in certain places that your cash can't, right? Your morals can get you in certain rooms that your money can't, right? And so another thing that stood out to me is that he talked about, man, look at the advice, the thought process of what he was giving him. He said the cost of living, right, is cheaper in this area, is not as saturated, right? And you can make a name for yourself. So what type of level of thinking do you have to be on to even give that type of advice? We just think about how much money you can make, your skill set, your job. But like he's thinking like, hey, cost of living. Is it saturated? can you go in and make a difference? Like, look at the way that they're thinking. Look at the things that they're thinking about. And then now, as we know this now, okay, start to think about your own life. When you're thinking about where I want to live, what do we think about? Is it cool there? Do they got good restaurants over there? They ain't. Listen, you see what we think about when we think about where we want to move. Is it cold? That's me. I ain't gonna lie. That's me. If it's cold, I'm not going there. I'm staying in Texas. But just think about, what are we thinking about when we're thinking about where we want to be after college, where we want to move to if we want to migrate. What is the standards? What is the criteria that we're judging by? What are we looking at versus what they're looking at? Man, that's deep, man. All right, so let's go to who's up next, Brother Michael.
Good day to you all. Assalamu alaikum, Grand Rising. My takeaway, man, is confirmation. And it's surprising to me to hear it. It's refreshing. Young people, older people, changing perspective, where we live and what's important right now. And to not to keep it tied right into what I'm into in the service that I provide. Because commerce is everything, but it's like you said, the way we look at things. You want to move somewhere. What do you consider? The school, crime rate, the cost of living. Is it a flood zone? I mean, the further out you think, the better you can plan and prepare. So my takeaway is just that commerce is king. Underline that and taking advantage of working with one another to grow wealth ultimately, because you can't grow it alone. So that's my takeaway. It's just the connection in marketing and commerce, and the fact that everything we do in life is a form of a commercial transaction. Thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, sir. Sister Ebony.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, praise the Lord. I really enjoy this portion of the podcast, brother. I really appreciate you and you thinking of us. Two things that I wanted to highlight. One, it's just bear witness the importance of us being educated, because education that I'm finding is education in how to do the number of things that is required to be an entrepreneur or business owner in our community, and especially for our nation. We are not up to date to the different things and components and techniques and marketing and all of that. And I'm finding for myself that like he was saying, it's the cost, and I'm focused on the cost. And I think that's by design because I was one of those believers who stepped out in faith, and me and my husband, and we started a business, and we're really we're really fighting for for the business to stay open, to get the promotion and the support that we need, and even our margin of customer base that we wanted to provide service with is dwindling, because it seems like we have a good product, and then now others are trying to do that same thing. So it's very important and imperative that the education is key in terms of opening a business, but building and pulling our resources together. Because I know in Message to the Black Man, the messenger also talked about that we should get, a couple of people who has the same goals or the same skills and talents and open up a business. But it seems like we're still suffering from the sickness of, like a sister had mentioned earlier, wanting to do it for yourself, you know, and want to get the glory. So it's not about that, but it's really about doing for ourselves and the separation piece. So I really, really enjoy this. And if anyone, if you have any information on education, because I'm looking for to be more educated. I see that now I have to, like the brother was saying, I have to throw away the mindset and the things that I knew so that I can learn and then apply the things that the foundational truths of building a business to what is new and uh, what we need as entrepreneurs to be successful in this time. So thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. And yes, ma'am, as far as marketing, for those who don't know, that's what digital real estate is. I seen somebody this morning say, yeah, don't be looking into stocks and digital real estate, that get rich quick scam. Digital real estate is just digital marketing. Now, the reason it's called digital real estate is because I teach about how to build assets online through a digital product, a course, monetizing your channel, monetizing your business where you can get residual income for your actual business. So on the marketing side, that's what digital real estate has always been. So for anybody who needs help with marketing, creating digital products and learning how to attract your tribe and how to deliver it and automate things on the back end, that's what digital real estate actually is. I wanted to read this from what is this? Our Savior has arrived. This is chapter 24, okay? Chapter 24. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says this: join up with me on the decent and sensible program beginning on page 223 of this book. He says, get business minded. Get a creative mind. The degree of education we have today given to us by the white man can be used effectively to go for self if we want to go for self. He says, you do not like doing right. You do not like doing something for self. You glorify begging the white man to do for you that which you can do for yourself. I warn you that the day is not far distant when you will be forced to do something for yourself because the white man is bound to drop you, and that he knows, but he is not telling you. He is allowing you the chance to make a fool of yourself and be caught at the time like a grasshopper who enjoyed summer weather. But cold weather kills the grasshopper. It freezes him to death because he has no house to lodge in. You do not want to be separated from your enemies, regardless of what kind of treatment you receive, and they do not want you separated from them as long as they can hold you with them. You serve as a protection for them, and they know you love them and want to be like them. They will agree with you when you say separation is not settle the problem, while that is the main step to take from an enemy who would not do justice by you. Leave and go for yourself. That is Our Savior Has Arrived, chapter 24. I don't know what page that is because I got a PDF version, but that's chapter 24, and it's called God Helps Those Who Help Themselves. That's the chapter name, and Our Savior Has Arrived. Let's go to Brother Wesley. Oh, wait. Before we go to Brother Wesley, I wanted to point this out. Man, they said they charge or they pay $200,000 to update the logo, $80,000 to say new and improved taste. This is big business, man. Now listen, I follow a channel. It's called The Future. And they do logos, right? And their logos may cost $80,000, $60,000, $100,000. And when I first heard it, I didn't understand it. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, man, damn, $80,000. I can go to. But they're doing business for big companies. So when you put this, you're not just making no logo for one little website. This logo is finna be on 50,000 pieces of gear. 50,000, it's gonna be 100,000, a million. It's gonna be everywhere. So it gotta be right, because the cost of a mistake. So like even when what the sister just said about, hey, my business, I gotta invest in education. I always tell people, we think about the cost of the mentorship, the cost of the coaching, the cost of the program. But what about the cost of not getting that answer? What about the cost of not having that blueprint, the cost of not having that mentorship that can guide you because it's going to cost you more if you don't have it. I'm telling you, man, I've been in that situation. The past companies I've been with, if we had to pay $50,000 for mentorship and coaching to get us on the same page, that would be worth saving the amount that was lost. So when we're going into education and we're going into getting mentorship, don't always look at, damn, that's $5,000. Oh, man, that's $20,000. Man, it may not be worth it for you. So you got to do your due diligence. But I want you to also consider, what is the cost in my business of not having this in place? Will it cost me more doing this through trial and error? Because I may say, I just figured out myself. Well, how much time is it going to take you to figure it out yourself? How much money are you going to waste trying to figure it out yourself when you could have got it from somebody who may already know exactly what to do? So the opportunity cost. So when they say, man, if I get this wrong, it's going to cost me $10 million to fix it. Ooh, that $200,000 that it really takes to update the logo becomes really nothing. So and then this is the part that got me. Oh my goodness. He said, and when you approach a corporate at $1,500, they laugh at you because they can see based on your price, you don't understand the magnitude and you don't understand the risk that it takes in this business deal. So many times we may be approaching somebody and just off of our price point, you thinking, see, this is us. When we just trying to make some money. Okay, if I go lower, some people are saying, that's too low. Something wrong with that. Let me go to somebody else. And we're thinking, oh, well, I got the lowest price. You turning people off by your price. Because they're, like he said, they know you don't understand business acumen. Something is off here. So, wow, that's deep, man. You approaching somebody thinking that you finna get a deal because you the lowest when they really laughing at you because they saying he don't understand something. Woo! Lot for us to learn, man. That's a lot for us to learn. Let's go to Brother Wesley.
Powerful. All praises due to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, family. When you started speaking, I was thinking about that as well, and just thinking about when you do, because I'm actually going through it right now, not charging enough and then having to go back and still continuously to work for less than what you charge for, then makes you more resentful for the price that you gave that person. You like, man, I should have charged them thousands of dollars because they're still having me do so many tedious things. But that's the consequence of not knowing your worth, not understanding, as you said, the business acumen of knowing what the worth is, what you're doing as well. Even if it comes easy to you to do, does not mean you need to charge a lower price. You actually need to charge more because of what it costs you to actually get it, make it easy or develop that ease in it as well. So I appreciate you bringing that point. But one of the things, or two of the things that I wrote down, just to camelback on that quote of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and studying the operation of the white man and the still away method that the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us as well. He stated that you don't just get a job just for a paycheck, and I'm paraphrasing. You don't get a job just for a paycheck, but you should be there to learn the skills. And I think about that, me being in the corporate America, being in the mortgage industry, which I came into the mortgage industry starting at the bottom as far as like being on the entry level position, call center, customer service, collections, that type of thing. But being willing to do the extra, go a little bit extra as far as asking questions, getting around the right people, developing relationships, you can learn how things work, which that's one part of studying the operation of the white man. They have no problem sharing information. They have no problem if you asking them, how does this work? Or how was you able to get this particular deal or that particular deal? They're willing to give you that information. You just have to be willing to put yourself in that position, but also be confident in the way that you present yourself. But when you're in a job, that job is really there to teach you something, for you to learn something, not just get that paycheck. And really be able to look at how is everything moving, being willing to read the training manuals that they give you. A lot of the paperwork and the policies and procedures that they give you, they're giving you the format of how to set up your own standard operating procedures. They're giving you the format of how to put trainings together, how to facilitate meetings, put agendas together. All of that is there, but as the brother was bringing about the learning and unlearning, you also don't want to adapt the corporate cutthroat mentality that comes with the white man. That's one thing. You're studying him, but you don't want to study him to the point that you become him, as far as the capitalistic cutthroatness that comes with it as well. And then that just made me think of as well, when we think about doing for self, and as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, do for self or suffer consequences. And then when we watch the lecture from student minister Nur Muhammad, do for self, stop or go from begging to building. He said, at this point, we're at a point where we need to do for self or continue suffering the consequences, because we're at a stage now with all of this information out. So many people are able to give us information. We got Brother Ben X that's teaching us on marketing, teaching us how to get started and find a way to take what we naturally know and make it into a business, turn it into something that we can do it. There's really no real excuse other than ourselves being in our own way and unlearning. And I know for me, coming out of corporate America, spending 15, 16 years in that industry and in those buildings, I have to unlearn the waiting for a lot of things to happen, or the even anticipating certain things that you expect certain things to be formatted and structured certain ways. Well, you have to build that structure. You have to set up your schedule. You have to stay accountable for that. It's not you go to somebody and you expect that they're going to already have it figured out. No, you need to add what you learned from that experience that you've been in, bring it to real time and how you can apply it today, but also have that measure of grace to understand that this is not corporate. This is not an entity that's been around for hundreds of years. Like you got your Coca-Colas and your Mars and all that. They've been in business for centuries at this point. So you have to have a certain measure of grace. And that takes me to, and I'll land the plane on this, in Message to the Black Man, how the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad states that we're too critical of one another. And that's one thing with doing business with your brother and with your sister. We have to really give a measure of grace with our people, because we weren't taught the science of business. We know that business is the activity of life, but that's something that has to be learned, and we have to develop that acumen to do business. But we have to be willing to have that measure of grace, and even double fold, triple fold that measure of grace as well, because we're all learning, we're all developing and understanding that the ultimate goal here is to circulate our money amongst each other and be willing to share information, even if it's not something that you want to get in business to. Pooling our resources is not just about putting money into the pot. It's also about adding your know-how, putting time and sacrifice, even if it's just, let me just support the business. Yeah, it may not have been the best quality now, but I know if I keep supporting this, if I tell other people about it and they can keep supporting it, the more that they're able to grow, the quality will improve, inshallah, as well. So just having that understanding to learn or study from the operations of the white man, but not to adapt that corporate mentality where you trying to scrape off every dollar and have that usury, or being able to take advantage of our brothers and sisters and even people in general. But being willing to take those skill sets that you have on a job, then extract that into your own business. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, like salam, man, I thank you for bringing up that being patient and having grace, because he said they're talking about 50, 70, 100 years worth of experience. And they got millions, well, billions to pay literally the best. And the best have years of experience. So like we have to be patient with ourselves that we don't know all of this. There's a lot of stuff in this shoot I don't know. And I've been teaching since 15, marketing, but I'm still learning and evolving over time through experience, through studying, through me getting courses, through me having coaching programs. So it's so much for us to learn. So don't go into this downing yourselves, and don't look at this and say it's so much for me to learn. I just stick with it's don't overwhelm yourself. I would say this, man. Every year strive to correct something that you didn't know last year. And over time, you're going to get better. But a lot of people are stagnant because they got a lesson. They saw the lesson and then they didn't correct the lesson. They didn't put a system in place. They didn't put the right person in place. They didn't get the right counsel to fix it, or else you're going to keep repeating the same problem. I've been guilty of it. So let's just continue to get better over time. Continue to read every day. Like I say this, man, when we are in development mode, I don't got time to be listening to the latest album all the time. When I'm driving, I got to listen to a podcast. I got to be listening to an audio book. I'm not where I want to be at to just be looking at the latest TV show. I'm not where I want to be at to all day. I know the latest basketball game and who cold this year. I don't know who in the league. Man, I know Kyrie. I know all the stars, all the new people. I'm not familiar. I don't got time. Now, I'm not saying don't just shut off the world. Like, you don't got to be like me. I'm just making a principle that look at all the stuff we have to learn, y'all. And think about all the stuff we know about on Shade Room, who done got a divorce, who in reality show got slapped, Nicki Minaj and who else she going at and why they going at it. If you know all those details, you need to look at yourself and say, man, damn, what am I giving my time to? So I can't say, oh, it's just so much, it's gonna take so long. But then I know all these details about everybody else's life. I know about all the drama. No, man, it's too much for us to be learning, man. It's too many principles, too many lessons, the stuff that we can be learning while we spending time learning and gathering all this other information. So we do got the time to learn it. We just pick and choose what we want to learn. So I wanna get this before we go to the next person. This is from Message to the Black Man, chapter 23. The chapter is called Get Knowledge to Benefit Self. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, I am for the acquiring of knowledge, or the accumulating of knowledge, as we call it, education. He said, first, my people must be taught the knowledge of self. Then and only then will they be able to understand others and that which surrounds them. Anyone who does not have a knowledge of self is considered a victim of either amnesia or unconsciousness and is not very competent. The lack of knowledge of self is a prevailing condition among my people here in America. Gaining the knowledge of self makes us unite into a great unity. Knowledge of self makes you take on the great virtue of learning. He says, many people have attempted to belittle or degrade my followers by referring to them as unlettered and unschooled. They do this to imply that the believers in Islam are ignorant. If such a claim were so, then all the more credit should be given for our striving for self-elevation with so little. But truth represents itself and stands by itself. Come on now, I needed that one. No followers nor any other people are more zealous about the acquiring of knowledge than my followers. Throughout the Holy Quran, the duty of a Muslim to acquire knowledge is spelled out. My people should get an education which will benefit their own people and not an education adding to the storehouse of their teacher. We need education, but an education which will remove us from the shackles of slavery and servitude. Get an education, but not an education which leaves us in an inferior position and without a future. Get an education, but not an education that leaves us looking to the slave master for a job. Woo! My. So that is from Message to the Black Man, chapter 23. Who we got up next? We got up next, Brother Maximus, part 2.
Assalamualaikum, family. And you hit one of the points that I was talking about, self-knowledge, because self-knowledge helps you understand where you are today and where you want to be. It's interesting when you were talking about the retros, and I was thinking about the time value of money. And, the fundamentals are very important in researching. And I think about, I've been lucky because I always listen to older people. And it goes back to what one of the speakers was saying. You can't be the smartest person in the room. And I have an uncle that was on Investment Magazine, as it called it, Investment Girl, but he purchased Berkshire and Hathaway in 1990 at $6,000 a share. In 1998, it was up to $70,000, and today it's worth over $500,000. And my point of that is, there's a season for everything. Just like in 2008, it was the housing crisis where everybody was making money and stuff like that. And in what I'm doing today, like, I'm holding on to more cash because I know there's going to be another season because of everything that's going on with the interest rates, and the economy. And those are things to pay attention to. And for people with a businesses, you always want to pay. I always use the SWOT analysis, the strength, weakness, opportunity, threats, that I apply in life, I apply in business. And it helps keep me ahead of the curveball. And also being open-minded to learning things, constantly learning to improve your business. And look at all the investment avenues, like, the interest rates are low, stocks are iffy. So, I have to look at money markets. Money markets giving an average of 10% right now in some places. That's guaranteed. I'm not losing no money. I'm getting lower money over time. but my money is safe and I'm getting higher rate than just sitting in a savings account. So those are different avenues because there's different avenues out there as you study where you can allocate your money, where you can make a little money, where you can give up a few things and add value to your pockets. And that comes down to self-knowledge and, thinking about where you are today and where you want to be. And one of the things I just got to say too is be careful with investment financial planners. Because financial planners make money whether you lose money or make money. Your stocks go down, but guess what? They're still going to get their money. So, doing the research, look at earnings per share, look at the income statement, understanding revenue and expense, all those things. Read the MDA report in a business, management discussion analysis, because that tells you a lot of things. The mission statement, and see if those things align with what you're looking for, and so on. I can go more and more, but I won't hold up. But I get into this stuff. But yeah, there's uh, so much into it, and there's so much money to be made out there. Nobody's losing money. Money's just changing hands. Just to let you know. All right, that's it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Daniel.
Yes, sir. This is a very powerful topic, considering that I did successfully transition into entrepreneurship. Now I'm trying to transition into being a business owner because I just basically worked myself into a job. It's nice because I don't have a boss over me. But I'm thinking of what the minister said when he was asked the question about how to do such. And I bear witness to that because I went about it that exact way. I had a cleaning service, and I decided after doing some research to do a franchise because I knew I could work the franchise and work the job. Then when I built up enough contracts, I was considering leaving. There was a lot of union problems at the job, a lot of things going on, and I didn't think the job was secure, even though we was making trade ninjas. But just how union goes and how those things go, it was about to shut down. So at that time, I began to ask Master Father Muhammad directly, is this what I should do? Should I go this route? Immediately, right after I prayed to him, I got a dealership, which was substantial. It's about maybe in total, maybe about $4,000 a month between the two dealerships. I said, you know what, this is enough for me to go ahead and walk away and move on. Now, what I wanted to add to this was the importance of family and building generational wealth. If you notice, Mars, they family, husband, wife, children, handing down wealth. If we look at our dear brother Ben, married man, family. So I don't think that that type of wealth could be generated perpetually single, not even trying to find that second self if we're the man, or that first self if we're the woman, to help build that generational wealth. Sister Ava talked about the importance of how business and those things are built first through successful marriage and family. So I thought that was an important point because, I don't believe that we should be in the mind of we can build business single, but we shouldn't be in the mindset that I don't need and I'm going to build something successful. We might. One of the things I've noticed in the Black community is that we don't hand down businesses. I've seen so many businesses close in the Black community. Hardware stores has been around for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But as soon as that business owner passes away, his children don't want nothing to do with the business. So we have to find a way by implementing the teachings where when we start to build this type of wealth, the long-term goals involves successful family and being able to hand down those business principles and ideals and long-term goals through those who carry your idea. So that's what I got out of it. Thank you, fam.
Yes, sir. Man, you said Mars was started back by Frank back in 2011? Really? Oh, 19. I said, man, damn, I said, man, I could have sworn Mars was before. Ooh, I'm finna say, man, I done got old, man. Golly. Woo-wee. Master. What else I was gonna say, man? They not. Oh yeah, there go another one. Another one I had was he said that he wasn't the right soil at the time for the seed that the lady gave him to grow. So although we may not have or be where we want to be, how are we preparing ourselves to be the proper soil when we are introduced to the right program, when we are introduced to the right mentor, when we are introduced to the right advice? Will we be the right soil that's prepared to even take on the advice that they're trying to give us? What are we studying? What are we reading? How are we preparing? Because when we talking about millions of dollars, man, it's just the thought processes is so much bigger than how we think when we're by ourselves solo. And I said this the other day on my I got a podcast that I started yesterday called Authentic Business with Brother Ben. And it's just me talking about, my naiveness, my failures, my good and my bad, what I've learned, my lessons. And I forgot what I was about to say. I don't even know where I was going with that. I had a point, man. What did I say before that? I had a reason. I don't want to miss it, so I'm going to sit here and think about it. But I had a reason I was bringing that up. Dang, it just slipped my mind, man.
You said you were talking about Mahdi not being the right soil, and then I think you were talking about like your mistakes.
Yeah, and him not being the right soil, but it was something else I was saying. Now, not just failures and mistakes. Yeah, your failures and mistakes, but it was something else that was the reason I brought up the podcast. Man, I'm talking about blank. I'm talking about zip from my mind. It'll come back to me if it needs to. But the point I guess I'll try to finish was that he said he wasn't the right soil. The seed wasn't prepared at the he wasn't the proper soil. What are we doing to prepare to be ready for when it comes? But it was something else that I wanted to share. It was something else that was on my mind. Oh my goodness, it just okay, let's just go to the next person, man, because I'm finna get frustrated. Now I'm mad because I don't know what I'm about to say. Man, it was the reason I was bringing that up. God, dog. Yeah, I'm getting old, man. Okay, so nobody else is in line. All right, well, I guess I got a little time to sit here and try to figure it out. But man, I was thinking about being prepared to receive the lessons. I don't know where I was going with that. Maybe that was all that need to be said, man, to prepare ourselves to be the right soil for the seed when it comes. I think I was saying, hey man, even if you get the right mentorship, even if you get the right person to come, you're not going to be prepared for it. I don't know. But I will say this now that it comes to my mind. I do always say, even with ChatGPT, it takes the best type of question to get the best type of answer. Prompting is very important with ChatGPT. So is the same whenever we find a mentor or whenever we find a coach. Having the knowledge of self and knowing who you are and being able to ask the right questions is going to be more important to you, because you have to be able to ask the right question to get the proper answer for where you are. A millionaire or a billionaire can't just like spit out a bunch of things hoping that they hitting you. You have to say, hey, I'm dealing with this and I'm having trouble with this and my numbers is looking like this. And then they can give you a specific answer based on where you are. But if you're still asking questions like, how do I overcome this? How do I create a product? Like those are so, I'm not going to say low level, but it's compared to the type of knowledge that they have, it is considered low level. So as we are preparing ourselves, as we are going through life, let's strive to have the good questions, as if you was at the same way you need good prompting to get the best out of ChatGPT. You need a good question to get the best out of your coach, to get the best out of your mentor. There are certain language that I'm learning that in business you have to know. Some people know what LOL mean. They know what LMAO mean. They know what LMFA all of them mean. They know what LBS mean. Now, I used to think LBS stood for pounds. I'm like, why people keep saying pounds? But that means laughing but very serious. No, LBVS, laughing but very serious. I just figured that out about a couple months ago. But do we know what SOP mean? We know what NOI mean as far as NOI, but do we also know there's a business term, NOI, as well? What does ROI mean? Then they got some called, what they call, I know Brother Maximus may know this one. Is it EPIDA? What they call it? EPIDA, something like that. After taxes, your total expenses and all that after that. Man, they got all type of little terms and words. So when you talking to somebody and we listening to these presentations, EBITDA, and we listen to these presentations, they may say just the abbreviation because they're talking to people that understand. So while we're watching a mentorship or we watching a lecture or whatever conference, it's going over our head because these are terms that we don't understand, that we don't know what it even means. So when they're talking about it, we just saying, yeah, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. But we don't know what them little terms mean, them abbreviations, because they may speak in abbreviations versus saying the whole thing. So it's just so much that we have to learn and accumulate. And I encourage us to go to a good spot that I go to when I'm trying to learn a new term. Is it Investopedia? Let me see how you spell it. INVESTOPEDIA. Investopedia. I think that's the term. I think this is the website I go to. And this will give you those terms. Let me see. Meaning, I think this is the website I go to. Yeah, Investopedia. Investopedia, they got different, they'll give you key takeaways. So they'll give you the definition, break it down. They'll give you examples, key takeaways. Like I'm looking at ROI right now. It'll tell you how to calculate it. So check out Investopedia and kind of just go down to financial terms. And when you go down to financial terms, they got, they look, they talking about 12B, 1 fee, 183-day rule, 51% attack. Like all this stuff, I don't even know what none of this is. Look at this here. You can break down annuity. You can break down the balance sheet, balance scorecard, bear market. See, all the beta, Brexit. Man, they got all type of words on here, man, that we probably don't even know. So, but they give you, once you click on it, they break it down for you, give you the definition, and then give you an example. So it's so much that we can learn. But that website is called Investopedia. Click the 3 lines at the top and go down to financial terms so that we can kind of, get our stuff up. Mother 90 has a question. Yeah, you got to learn how to interpret it. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. I can't remember who posted it, or if it was like a video or if it was a picture with the words on it. But when we as believers sneeze, what are we supposed to say instead of bless you?
I ain't never heard.
Does anybody know?
I ain't never heard nothing different. I thought we would just say bless you.
I just recently saw it. It was on someone's story, and it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad who said it, but I can't remember what it was. And it came up in class last week, and I couldn't remember what it was.
Okay. Any elders? See, this is where the elders come in at. Any elders? Oh, you say Alhamdulillah. Okay. Praise be to Allah. I was about to say maybe you say Allahu Akbar. I don't know. Allahu Akbar. Well, that probably may be wrong. You be on an airplane, your brother in face sneeze, and you say Allahu Akbar, whole plane get to panicking. Now, I know it can't be Allahu Akbar. So yeah, Alhamdulillah, that's a good one. And that stands for all praise is due to Allah, correct? Correct. I'm working on my Arabic. That's correct, right? All right. Yeah. So EBITDA, y'all. Here go EBITDA. Earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. Okay. Is a measure of company profitability used by investors. It is helpful for comparing one company to another in the same line of business. There it is. That's EBITDA. Yeah, that's old EBITDA. So yeah, man, there's so much for us to learn, man. So we're gonna get it together on these Wednesdays, man. And all of y'all who in the financial industry and all that, who be sitting back on here, these Wednesdays is the time for y'all to speak up. Don't let us sit up here and we trying to learn all this stuff and y'all sitting back on all that knowledge. Y'all done went to school and you've been reading your books and all that type of stuff. Come off the mic and give us some of them good old definitions y'all got and some of that wisdom. That's what these Wednesdays gonna be for, man. Somebody said I got it. Come on, yeah, Sister Matasha. Yeah, Matasha. Man, I be getting them names. Man, I know I be messing y'all names. I apologize. Y'all gotta excuse me. I don't do it on purpose, man. I'm from the dirty South, man. We be messing them names up, man. But yeah, come on off mute. Ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with coming off the mic a little bit. And all y'all, what I'm noticing, Sister Yasina, and Brother Wesley, a lot of them ain't been coming on camera anyway. See, I ain't said nothing, but y'all sure been getting away with it. Y'all just be, okay, I'm just gonna come off mute. Listen, on the power call, we want to see you. What happened to everybody being family? And, y'all used to get up in the morning, come on, y'all used to get together. Everybody had their cameras on. Brothers come on here. Yeah, sometimes have your tank top on, trying to show. Come on, man, come on camera, man. Y'all be sitting back with your cameras off, man. We want to see you smile as you're speaking and all this. Y'all doing all this being off camera. Yeah, there you go, brother Antone. There, we want to see you. We want to be looking at your name all day. And you too, brother Maximus. We miss seeing you come on camera. Maybe now all I see on camera is just Maximus. You be having me think about something else when I be looking at Maximus. I ain't gonna say it, but I be like, damn, I miss seeing the brother, man. Had him, how you glad, be looking sharp, man, looking intelligent with that financial game, man. I be like, come on, let me see your faces, man. Yeah, we gotta see your faces, man. It's the power call. There we go. Yeah, brother Martin, there you go. Look at that. See, now when you see, this is what happens. Now, when we see each other at Savior's Day, we say, oh, I know you. You from the power call. But how we gonna know each other if we only seeing names on here? Or you gonna say, oh, that's Sister Farrell that be coming on speaking. Oh, there go Brother Wesley. See, how we gonna have a power call meet up and we don't know each other's faces, man? Come on. Somebody said FYI. See, there you go. Brother Maxim says FYI. Most important, don't be afraid to ask for help. We can't do everything by ourselves. Everyone have an area when we get comfortable asking or helping one another in our conscience too. There it is. There go little Elijah. There he go. Now there he go, looking just like your daddy. Look at it, looking just like your daddy, boy. Oh, looking just like your daddy. Yes, you is. Looking just like your daddy. Yeah. All right, y'all. So we finna get out of here, man. But yeah, next time tomorrow, everybody have your cameras on, man. Y'all come on camera so we can enjoy each other. And I'll see you guys, inshallah, tomorrow for part 2. We're gonna be on part 2. Everybody said we're gonna do part 2, so we're gonna be on for part 2 tomorrow. Make sure y'all bring your friends and your family, especially those who are entrepreneurs. I know everybody got somebody who like, man, when you be telling me about the power call, I ain't in all that Muslim stuff, man. I ain't in all that. But listen, y'all, here's how we get them. You say, hey, man, this morning, man, they gonna be talking about $1 billion lessons. And man, I think you can really add a lot to the conversation. So them type of people, they want to come and add on and, teach us. So we say, hey, man, come on in the morning. They gonna be talking about finance, man, and that stuff you be talking about. So then they gonna come on, but in the midst of it, we gonna be throwing in quotes and we gonna throwing in the teachings in between it, and they not even gonna know that it's hitting them in their head. Like, damn, I kind of agree with that. I didn't know y'all thought like that. Well. Is that true? Oh, okay. So that's how we get them, y'all. So on these Mondays, this is just another bait. You see what I'm saying? This is just another way to bring your people on who don't want to hear the spiritual stuff, but then they gonna come on and still hear the spiritual stuff, and they gonna be growing and don't even know they growing. That's how we get them, y'all. So everybody who y'all invited, y'all say, well, hey man, this Wednesday they doing something just a little different this time. I think you gonna like this one, and they gonna come on and they gonna enjoy it. And then after the call, you text them, you say, so what you think about it? Ooh, that's what you do. You hit them up and you say, so what you think about today? And they're going to say, oh, man, oh, pretty good, man. They're going to try to be hard with, hey, man, it was all right, pretty good. And then you're going to find they really start logging in, but they're going to change their name because they don't want you to know they tune. See, I'm telling you how to do this, y'all. I'm telling you how we going to get them. We got to always have a fisherman in mind. That's how we do it, all right? So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum and have a blacktastic day.
Is Brother Ben here? Brother Ben. Now, Ben got a heck of a program. A lot of people listening to Brother Ben. And Ben tells them about the minister. And Ben tells them about the minister.